Our focus on Indigenous reconciliation and Indigenous inclusion to date has really focused on education.
We're an organisation that resides primarily in Canada, and I think as Canadians we all have a responsibility to think about reconciliation. And we had a moment of realisation that although working on a reserve in an Indigenous community is fundamentally different, we were treating them the same. And so it was important for us to start thinking about how we could better serve our Indigenous employers and members, and that got us on our journey.
So a small group of us took a trip all the way out to Regina, Saskatchewan, to First Nations University.
We had the benefit of hearing directly from different rights holders, knowledge keepers, elders, political and community leaders, and scholars, so that we had to have a base foundation of what reconciliation really means and the why.
It really advanced my own personal journey of education and awareness and understanding, and to be able to bring that back and embed it into the Indigenous Action Plan has been certainly the career highlight that I can look back on.
This is very meaningful to me, to see it as a seed of an idea that's grown into the plan that we have today.
Our Indigenous Action Plan is the formalization of our commitment to Indigenous inclusion and truth and reconciliation in Canada.
Is our enterprise approach to how we are going to advance Indigenous reconciliation and inclusion. It has 4 pillars and 17 enterprise commitments.
From an investment perspective, especially within natural resources and infrastructure investing, we often come across First Nation partners. So in order to be able to partner with those groups, I think it's important to have an understanding of the history of these groups, the challenges that they've had, and what are the opportunities that they have in front of them today.
It is important as a signal to both external partners and internal partners to say that we're serious about the 94 calls to action for truth and reconciliation.
We partnered very closely with an Indigenous consultant agency known as Creative Fire.
My name's Aidan Mowdy. I'm the Manager of Business Consulting and Engagement at Creative Fire. We work with organizations like Ontario Teachers Pension Plan across Canada to be able to understand how can we work better with Indigenous peoples who are either impacted by our work or beneficiaries of our work. We're a First Nation-owned Indigenous engagement, consulting, strategy, and communications agency. We're the only community-owned organization that does this work in Canada. Proceeds of our work, they go back to our shareholder community, English River First Nation, and that's something that we're really proud of.
One of the things was we weren't trusting partners, we weren't coming to community, and I think to build those partnerships, you have to have a face-to-face interaction. And so we created a very specific job for Tyler Knowles, and he was able to go out into communities and to make those connections.
We currently work with 25 schools and organizations across the province. I'm happy to share that over the last 3 years, we've actually welcomed 9 of the 25 as new partners.
And in particular, as an organization, we've had amazing partnerships with the Gord Downey and Cheney Wenjack Fund and the creation of our legacy space here in the Toronto office. It's a beautiful space that features this incredible mural by talented Anishinaabe artist Q-Rock.
So my name is Manadu Neiman. My artist name is Q-Rock. I'm from Nipissing First Nation.
To me, this is like a visual representation of the teaching Minot-Bimidezwin. And essentially, Minot-Bimidezwin it translates to the good life. It's layered in Anishinaabe teachings. The Six Nations Peace Treaty story, so it has like portions of the creation story embedded into it. And it also has our value system.
How will we know that we've been successful? Well, 5 years out today, I expect us to be having even deeper relationships with the community.
For teachers specifically, it's about allyship. It's about learning our protocols, our etiquette, our jargon, and building allyships. Side by side is how we should be working. There should be no dictation by the Western teachers.
My hope as well is that the teachings that we've learned from Indigenous peoples throughout this work is something that we carry with us.
There are many ways that our employees can get involved with our Indigenous Action Plan, learn about the commitments, use the resources in Workday Learning, and really figure out what makes sense for you to learn more.
This plan is only as good as the impact and the outcomes that we have connected to it. This plan needs to be dynamic. We need to make sure that we're touching back in with the rights holders who were so impactful and helpful in us on this journey, and we need to be measuring our impact. And if we're not having the impact we need to have, we will adapt and change so that we are.
Ontario Teachers Pension Plan. Investing to make a mark.